I feel awful for Deebo Samuel. He was crying after the game. I was watching it with my wife. Normally I'm there and I don't watch the game with my wife, but this was one of the rare times when I'm watching my wife, and she's a therapist and she's very in tune with people, and she's watching Deebo. She look at him, he's crying, just like my dad would do watching the game. And I don't sympathize with athletes, really don't. They're all millionaires and they'll get over it. But Deebo, I do sympathize with to an extent. I feel awful for him because I feel like he dragged the team this far. He was more invested in this team than anyone else on the 49ers. And to get this far, he had to move from wide receiver to running back. And he did it. Like they would never have made it to the playoffs if he hadn't sacrificed his body and made himself a running back. And he did that. And in this game, he really put them in a position to win, and he couldn't get the ball in the fourth quarter. He got one touch in the fourth quarter and they lose. Whereas the last 2 weeks when the game was on the line, they handed off to him on 3rd and longs twice. And he came through. They won in Green Bay largely because he picked up 9 yards on 3rd and 7 on a run. But he didn't get any carries in the fourth quarter of this game. Instead, Kyle Shanahan decided that he was going to put the game in the hands of Jimmy and whatever, Jennings, Kittle, Hasty, a bunch of people who aren't Deebo, and they lost. And so I feel like Deebo was so great this year, so inspirational. I think he's the best player in football. I think he's the best player in the entire league. I've been saying it since I want to say November. I think he should win the MVP this year. He's not going to. It's going to go to Rodgers or some quarterback. And this season from Deebo, which to me is historic, it's one of the best seasons I've ever seen from a football player, ever. We're going to forget about it. I mean, we won't forget about it, but people will forget about it. It'll just be something that Niner fans remember. Hey, Deebo was actually great in 2021. He was, the Niners, they made it to the NFC Championship game. They lost. They started off 3-5. It wasn't really their year. It was Jimmy's last year in town. He never really, they were always capped what they could do with Jimmy, but Deebo that year was great. There's no guarantee that Deebo will be as great next year. He's 26 now. I don't know. I feel awful for him. It's kind of how I used to feel for Joe Staley when the Niners would fall short. Like, there's another year of an elite career wasted. Because why? Because they had to learn that Jimmy still sucks in the fourth quarter of playoff games, that they had to learn that Kyle Shanahan can't hold a lead in big games. Like, that's not Deebo's fault. Maybe if those two had actually given the ball to Deebo with the game on the line, they'd be going to the Super Bowl. Maybe if Deebo had gotten the ball in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl, they'd be champions. But no, once again, they ride Deebo this far and then forget about him with the season on the line, and he has to cry. It's rough. I feel bad for Deebo. Jimmy cost you $8. I still can't get over the guy who bet $8,000 on Jimmy Garoppolo. Dude, why would you do that?